Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? My room is a mess, and finally, I've been able to start to watch Nolinquisitor's videos, and so I watched one, I guess today. I was on the way to the dentist, so I wasn't watching. I was driving, and listened to it before and after, and it was about culture shock and knowing your limits, or I think something like that. That was about the title, and the video itself was about a game that he started to participate in and then did not, and there were various um, obstacles for him. And one was language, and one was, I think, the system, the genre. And then one was interesting. It was the play-by-post format. And that's what I really wanted to talk about a little bit because I do have some experience with the play-by-post format. I was involved in a game, couple play-by-post games, one that was very successful, I guess because we lived, but it was a lot of fun. And, it's funny because, I could really identify with what he was talking about, the idea that, he's wasn't really into writing a lot of prose and a lot of description. And that, when the people started the game, they wrote very descriptive things. The game master wrote some very descriptive material right off the bat. Which he said, you're supposed to do, because it's more like, I don't think he said like a novel, but something like that. And I've certainly had experience with other players posting very descriptive things about what, not only what their characters were doing, what they were thinking, what they were wearing, the way they did a particular move, etc. And that they were from the country, and blah blah blah. And he also talked about the idea that people were posting things about like their thoughts, things that wouldn't be necessarily apparent. Talked about being simulationist. As good a word as any in terms of the idea that people were, as they posted, were kind of commenting on the internal state of their character, and something that is, if you were another person in the world, like the real world, you would not have a window on that. You'd notice that they look sad, or what they did or said. Anyhow, my point was, or is, I guess it's not was because I haven't said it yet, that just, in my experience, that's how the game started out. Some people, posted like that. However, I posted the way I post, which I think is similar to the way he was talking about, that boring. He called it boring. Well, I don't think it's very boring. I just pretty much posted exactly what I would say my character did in a face-to-face game. Aprax does this. Aprax is wearing this, or smiles wryly, or does this little quip, but nothing real big. And wearing, I said, well, he's wearing plate mail, or has red hair, or whatever, because my character ought to have some hair. It's because I'm role playing. Um, and what I found happened over time was, people tended to tire of writing this real descriptive prose, and we all started just kind of write what our characters did. We had dialogue between the characters, but it wasn't, at least in my experience, it kind of dialed back a little bit and became a lot more manageable, and pretty much resembled what you would see at the tabletop. You maybe had a little bit more time to uh, say what you want to say, and get it right. But that was about it. So, I found it daunting at first, and there were definitely some that I read that I almost got involved in, that I kind of backed out of, because they seemed to be much more into that. But for the most part, my experience was, once it got going, like any game, it became very natural, because I'm definitely not the prose guy. I'm not guy, somebody that's going to be very descriptive and narrate things in this really colorful fashion. I'll describe what I'm doing, what my character's saying, and certainly if I'm running a game, I'll describe what's happening. But I'm not writing a book. So I don't think you have to do that either. I think play-by-post can be very natural, and flow very, what's the word I'm looking for? A synonym for natural. But can flow very organically and just be like normal speech, normal description, or normal gameplay. So that's my experience. So what's yours been?